So how can one single sentence, written thousands of years ago, actually mean two completely different things at the exact same time? Today, we're going to take just one verse from the book of Revelation, put it under the microscope, and see how it operates on both a literal level and a really deep symbolic level. It's a pretty amazing look at how you can find these hidden layers of meaning in really complex texts.
All right, here it is. Revelation 14:17 in its original Koine Greek. This is our ground zero. Now, on the surface, it seems to be describing a pretty straightforward event. But, as you're about to see, there are some incredible depths hidden inside this one little sentence.
So when you translate that into English, it paints this really vivid picture, right? You've got an angel, a temple in heaven, and this sharp sickle. It's a powerful image of some kind of divine action. But what if this literal picture is only the beginning of the story? What if it's also a visual metaphor for a much deeper spiritual truth?
And that is the big question, isn't it? How is it possible to look at this one sentence in two totally different ways and have them both be right? Well, to figure that out, we've got to start with the words themselves.
Okay, so first we're going to use what I like to call the linguistic lens. This means we're basically grabbing a magnifying glass and going word by word just to build a rock-solid grammatical foundation of what the text is literally saying.
You know, when you break it down like this, it's almost forensic. It's totally objective. Angelos is a messenger, exelthen means to come out or come forth, nao is the temple or sanctuary, and drapanon oxy is just a sharp sickle. So you see, there's not a lot of wiggle room here. The language is literally describing a messenger coming out of a holy place carrying a harvesting tool.
Every single one of these words has its own specific job to do, and together they create this really concrete physical scene. Think of this literal reading as our anchor. It's the solid ground we gotta stand on before we even think about looking for those deeper symbolic meanings.
Okay, so now let's switch gears. We're gonna put down the magnifying glass and pick up a telescope. We're zooming way out to see how this one little scene fits into this grand symbolic narrative about salvation.
From this bigger perspective, that angel we just talked about, well, it's not just a messenger anymore. In this view, it actually represents the Holy Spirit. It's a symbol of the divine power that was sent to earth after Jesus' sacrifice. In a way, the messenger is the message.
And listen, this idea isn't just pulled out of thin air. You can find clues elsewhere in the Bible that back this up. Take this verse, for instance. It directly links the Spirit with the bride, which represents the church, in this work of calling people, of gathering the harvest.
And if we followed that same logic, the sickle suddenly isn't just a simple farming tool anymore. It becomes this powerful symbol of the Holy Spirit's work. Its sharpness represents the incredible precision and divine authority used to convict people's hearts and save souls, to separate the grain from the chaff, so to speak.
And you know, this idea gets reinforced in other places too. This verse from the book of Acts, for example, makes a direct connection between the arrival of the Holy Spirit and the granting of power. Well, that power is exactly what the symbolic sickle in Revelation represents, the authority to go out and carry out this great harvest.
Okay, so we've got two very different ways of looking at this verse. One is super concrete and literal, the other is abstract and symbolic. So the big question is, how do these two ideas fit together? I mean, do they cancel each other out, or do they actually build on each other?
And this is where it gets really cool. When you put them side by side like this, you start to see how they connect. The literal meaning doesn't get thrown away. It actually becomes the vessel for the symbolic one. That concrete image of a messenger coming from a temple gives us the framework we need to understand the abstract idea of the Holy Spirit coming directly from God's presence.
So you see, that super precise grammar we looked at earlier, it actually makes the symbolic meaning stronger. The fact that the angel comes out of the temple gives real theological weight to the idea that the Spirit comes directly from God Himself. The literal informs the symbolic. They work together.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, this whole exercise gives us a powerful blueprint, a method we can use not just for this one verse, but for any complex text that might be holding multiple layers of meaning. It's basically a repeatable process. You start with the text itself, get a solid handle on the grammar, that's your literal foundation, then you zoom out and explore the bigger symbolic picture, looking for themes and connections. And finally, you bring them both together to unlock a much fuller, richer understanding.
And that's really the key takeaway here. To truly understand something this complex, you really do need both tools in your toolkit. The magnifying glass for all the crucial details, and the telescope for that breathtaking grand view. It moves us way beyond just a surface-level reading to a much deeper appreciation for the text. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other profound truths are hiding out there in plain sight, in verses and stories we think we already know, just waiting for us to pick up the right set of lenses and take a closer look?